Good morning. My name is Garrett Campbell, and I'm from Thorough High School. I just graduated 2006. Thank you. I'm sure everybody in here knows that they have their own voice, but how do you find your own voice? Finding your voice involves knowing what inspires you. To find your voice, you must first realize that your voice may be different from everyone else. Sometimes, your voice may not be the popular voice of everyone else. For example, a couple of students plan to skip school and relax at home. They ask you to join them, but you follow your voice and make the right decision. You cannot be afraid to speak out and voice your own opinion, regardless of what others think. Finally, you must know what you hold sacred and vital, and whether it is to be successful, have power, have money, or approval of loved ones and friends. Before finding my voice, I was a smart young man, but very lazy and easily distracted. I could not sit still in my class and began distracting others during class assignments. My grades were good, but my conduct was terrible. I had lots of potential, which was almost always overshadowed by my constant disruption. If a joke was made, more than half the time, I was responsible. There were many times when I was accused of misbehavior when I was innocent. I acted so inappropriately that it became a distraction for others. I needed an outlet for my conflicts in my household. My mother and father were always fighting, more physically than verbally. And when they weren't fighting, my father wasn't home. My mother, brother, and I were living in New York, but as things worsened, we ended up moving to New Jersey with my aunt and cousin. The transition from New York to New Jersey wasn't much of a geographical difference, but I was without a father and a house full of women besides my brother. I struggled throughout the school year, but I was finally able to graduate from elementary school. My mother decided to relocate again, but this time we moved to Atlanta, Georgia, to take care of my grandmother. I had yet another new start when I started my middle school year in a predominantly African-American school, Jean Child Young Middle School. I did amazingly well in my 6th grade year, and I determined that I would not make any more jokes or try to be the class clown. My 7th grade year was similar, but my 8th grade year was the worst. It wasn't the curriculum, it was my self-motivation. It was lacking. My grades became so bad that I even began to doubt myself and my abilities. 2 or 3 weeks before graduation, my teachers demanded to have a conference with my mother regarding my grades and whether I should be in line for graduation. I thought I might not be promoted, but my mother's determination, as well as Mr. Davis, my assistant principal at the time, his willingness to help was enough to enable me to graduate with my class. I made a silent promise that I would not fail. Once I graduated from Young Middle School, I went to Thorough High School, and in the beginning of my 9th grade year, I was introduced to a program called the Small Learning Community. The Small Learning Community is a program that focuses on 9th grade students by separating them from the rest of the high school. Mr. Davis, my assistant principal from Young Middle School, started the Small Learning Community at Thorough High School. I did extremely well in my 9th grade year, and after which I was introduced to the AVID program and the different methodologies within my grasp. Ms. Childress, which is sitting right here because she's my teacher, the current AVID coordinator at Glenn County, she not only motivated me, but helped me to unlock my true potential as a student. I no longer crack jokes or am concerned about being the class clown. I've been transformed into an AVID student. The AVID curriculum taught me the importance of being early to class, sitting in front, and showing that I'm interested, as well as asking relevant questions. Ms. Childress enforced this by randomly coming to our core classes, unannounced, and observing AVID students. After observing us, the next time we went to AVID, she shared with us her observations. Our grades were depending on her findings, so if you were sitting in the back of the class, your grade wouldn't be delightful. I did a lot of things in AVID that helped me to become a better student, such as study groups and seminars. These strategies helped me to find my voice by force. because if you didn't speak, you earned a 0. However, it helped shy students to realize that speaking up wasn't so bad after all. Study groups gave us an understanding of how other students perceived information. There were a lot of requirements that were placed on us by AVID and Ms. Childress. We constantly had to take Cornell notes and keep track of our GPA, maintain our AVID notebook, keep calendars, and continue to do the learning logs, day in and day out. Despite the amount of work and the demands that AVID was requiring of us, going to college would still be a dream. Now I know which college is best for me and how I plan to cover the cost of tuition. My brother always earned the best grades without any hassle of school, and I think AVID has helped me to become more like my brother. Now that I have found my voice, I plan to show everyone else whom I come into contact with how to find theirs, because when you don't speak, you don't have a voice. I plan to join a mentoring program to help other students currently. I want to be a great example for others to follow. My mother has remarried since then, and my brother is in his 4th year at Clark Atlanta University, and both of them agree that AVID does work.